Welcome back to the Aftermatch with Kirsten Beeve. Come for the rugby, stay for the Aftermatch. We're celebrating. Look, what do we do? Hip hip hooray. 3 cheers for the Aftermatch.
3 cheers for the Aftermatch. More importantly, probably 3 cheers for our listeners.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Look, the numbers do not lie, and we wanted to do a big shout out to you first. You got us to 12,000 subscribers in our first season of about 36 podcasts. So grateful for you guys. We've had over 8 million people watch, listen, download, stream our content across all social media platforms, Beef. That's Instagram, that TikTok thing that you've learned a little bit about,
yes.
YouTube, the Spotify, the purple one on your phone, Apple,
that's
Apple Podcasts.
That's where I get all my ones from.
It's been a little bit of learning for you this season about social media platforms.
This TikTok character, he's got some numbers about him.
Completely different to the Temu character that you order your Christmas presents from.
I've actually got to do a bit of Temu shopping to get on board.
Don't forget, because the postman won't come in time.
This is true. Stress. A lot of stress at the moment.
But massive numbers. So over 8 million views, over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, over 20,000 followers.
And sorry if you've had to put yourself through all 34, because we know sometimes Kirst talks a bit of rubbish. But no, it's been great to have you on the way.
Okay, let's get into it then. All Blacks, Wales. Let's go Wales first, Beeve, because they've actually got a bit to talk about. Look, we thought Wales were down and out, which, I mean, they have been when you look at everything going on around the organisation, the national team, rugby in Wales for the last few years. But they actually put on a performance. There were a couple of standout players.
Yeah, I thought it was quite inspired there. At a point, you mentioned where Wales is at the moment, and we're hearing that they're cutting more teams and from their 4 or 3, what it is at the moment. But, like, obviously, British and Irish line at halfback and Williams, who we knew was good, but he was such a controlling figure for Wales, and considering everything that was going on, I thought he was outstanding. Clearly, they decided that his box kick was going to be a weapon, and I think we only had to wait for about 5 or 10 minutes to see Reece Zammit, of course, of NFL stardom.
The Kelseys, Taylor Swift, Mahomes. Of course, he was in... What's it called? Like pre-season? He didn't
training camp.
Yeah, like a training camp.
Yeah, and
with
then
Kansas City.
But then you got to deal with Caleb Clark in full flight. So you know, hey, it's a different beast.
Hey, but look, he got a couple back.
Yeah, no, I thought really shone on his limited opportunities. I thought he looked great. As I said, he was a key chaser, and it was a key tactic that they backed him in the air, used Williams' box kick. I tell you, and I know obviously always cast a pretty keen eye on the 10s. I thought Edwards was, I think there's a bit there. I mean, he's young, 20 or so, but I thought his ball playing was very good. He got flat to the line, a few nice cutout passes to set the boys free down the edges. So, you know, for all the doom and gloom, I guess it's surrounded Welsh rugby in the last 12 months, back to that World Cup when they were still very much competitive. You know, there's some hope there. I think they've got a game against the Springboks now, which is outside of the test window, which means they don't get access to a lot of their players, which that I hopefully doesn't destroy the good work that I think went in over the weekend, because they gave plenty, and with 50 minutes gone in that test match, they were right in it.
Do you want the game this weekend, or do you just say, we'll finish our season with the All Blacks?
Well, in hindsight, I think they probably would like just to say, let's build now. But now they've got a different beast coming to them, who have just knocked over Ireland, and we'll get into that later. But, Wales, I was pleasantly surprised. And that's not being patronising at all. I just thought that with everything that's been happening, it could get ugly. And yes, the All Blacks won comfortably, but...
The 50-minute mark.
The 50-minute mark, they gave a real good account for themselves. And that's often the case. When you're maybe out of your weight division, you can hang in there for 40 or 50 minutes and be brave and be gutsy and, hold your plans for that long. But, as the depth of the squad gets lower and lower, they were talking about on the commentary how many loose forwards they had out, and a couple of them are very, very good players.
Jack Morgan and the likes.
Exactly. Once you start to then have to make subs, and when you're already a depleted team, that's when it gets tested, and, All Blacks did run away with it in the end.
Okay, well, you've got your notebook there, your handy-dandy notebook. There's not a lot of writing down there, but before we get into your notes from the game, I know it's all in your head. atmosphere pre-match, the show that was put on, the spotlight on the haka, the drone that came over the top when Rico was leading it, and you could see the backslap on Ruben Love. That looked brutal. That looked like a Piti Wepu special backslap, that one.
Yeah, you don't.
That was amazing, though.
Well, you don't want to be backslapped either in the Northern Hemisphere because it's cold, and that might sting a bit. But
it looked like it hurt, that one.
Yeah, but I often say you can't beat Cardiff on Test day.
That was amazing.
And you're talking about inside the ground. Funny enough,
the smoke show that stayed with the roof.
That was up there with Chicago not organising a big screen for the TMO. As far as a little bit of an oversight.
Yeah, open the roof a little, let everything go, and then close it up again.
It's like why we make smokers go outside these days. Bit of fresh air gets the smoke away. Would have been the same for fireworks, but no, I had my former gear man, the great Chalk. Texting me from the UK, English guy who went and watched the All Blacks for the first time in his life, loves his footy, and he went up to Cardiff and said, what an amazing day. So it's still obviously the greatest place to be on a test day as far as such a small, concentrated city that just locks down, and there would have been Kiwis everywhere.
Did he go to the walkabout?
Chalky probably didn't go to the walkabout.
Okay.
It's not his vibe, but he would have found somewhere. Okay,
well, talk to me about this performance from the All Blacks. There were a lot of players that got opportunities that have been very few and far between this year, and players that we wanted to see, like your Ruben Loves of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as far as the performance goes, I was quite fascinated by how they went about their business. Like, any kicking that they did seemed to be off Cortez Ratama, and it was not even your traditional sort of mid-20 metre box kick to compete with. It was the shorter. They talk about the 15 to 17 often now from a box kicking point of view. And that's where they were. And it looked like they were just hell-bent on ball retention. And, this is often the style of game that you see from the All Blacks when there is confidence about them. And they do want to keep the ball. And, I thought a few guys really stood out. You talk about guys with limited opportunities this year. I talked about, obviously, Cortez did a lot of kicking, but I thought Takeaho was mightily impressive. Had all his set piece looking and going well, but around the park, he was so explosive as a carrier. I think we've probably missed a little bit of Armour this year for that role that came off the bench, but Takeaho, I think, made a real statement as far as where he sits in the hooking pecking order, because next year there's going to be plenty. I thought Bell really came on towards NPC and Super Rugby, so he's going to be very much in the conversation as well. So timely performance from Takeaho. Obviously Ruben Love had a special moment as far as to score a try like that at one of the meccas of world rugby in front of a packed, what's it called now? Principality. It'll always be Millennium, or it'll always Cardiff. But to score a try like that on such an iconic venue, unbelievable.
Where were you when the new Millennium came through?
Whangamata, actually.
2000.
As a 15-year-old dirtbag.
Jeepers.
Yeah. Probably had my $9 bottle of Christoph.
Was it $9 back then? I bet it was cheaper.
No, it was about $9.
It was $9 in my time, and look, I'm
similar times.
No.
Similar times, and obviously just the Raro sachet mixed in.
Classy.
Away you go.
Yeah. That was the new Millennium.
That was the new Millennium for me. Possibly if I've buried that, I probably didn't actually see it in, but. That was the Millennium Stadium.
You're back to Millennium Stadium. I know we've talked about how scary Cheslin Colby is to come up against for vastly different reasons, but Caleb Clark would have to be one of the scariest wingers, I reckon, to stand in front of in World Rugby.
When you see Caleb Clark like that, you
oh no.
Well,
if I'm on the other side of him,
it's an oh no, but it's also like there shouldn't even be a debate about
who's our left wing.
Yeah. I saw him come back from his injury there in Pukekohe in very humble surroundings against counties in front of probably 2,000 people, and his Auckland team got a hiding that day, a record hiding actually for anyone interested. But he looked sharp, he looked fit, he looked fresh, and that's just what he's looked like anytime he's got an opportunity since. He is such a dynamic rugby player, and because he's a big, powerful athlete, you often forget about his skill level. But his skill level, like his high ball regarded as the best, and it's the way he goes about catching. There's a lot more AFL sort of style catch to Caleb's catching than I guess some of the other guys. And no, I think he can have a summer where he's primed and ready to kick on and just cement, I reckon, as far as the sport goes.
What do you mean in terms of AFL style catching? What is he doing that others?
He catches a lot of it above his head.
Yeah.
And like he extends his hands above his head, which is, I guess the AFL style, as opposed to, I guess traditionally going up, catching it more in your, chest to gut. The idea is you're always trying to catch it above your eyes, but Caleb really does attack it and goes after above his head. And, he, as we've highlighted, he is the best in the country around it.
He's some athlete though. Like you would have seen those videos of him tossing like an NFL ball.
Yeah.
And he can throw it like length of the rugby field, like easily. Like he's an amazing athlete.
Length of the rugby field. That sounds like the time you tried claiming that you just picked up golf and could drive at 250.
No, 350.
Oh, 350 was it? Yeah. Yards or metres? Couldn't remember.
Yards.
But yeah, look, I thought...
And I could outdrive you, B. Still can.
I thought Caleb was one of our best. I thought Anton Leonard-Brown was busy. I like the control that McKenzie had. I think, Wallace Satiti, some of his carries. You talk about not wanting to get in front of Caleb Clark.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to get in front of Wallace Satiti when he gets those wind-ups from those goal line dropouts that he was getting. And you still had, your core work getting done by the likes of Fabian and Barrett. Tossie, hugely important turnover at an important time, Kirst. With the game and the balance, Wales starting to show life.
Massive.
Tossie gets over the ball.
Showed some speed as well.
Yeah. No, he's, again, another guy that can be pretty sound, happy with his year's work. But all in all, I just thought the way the boys went about their, I guess, holding on to the ball. And, often people try and say, what's the magic formula as far as, breaking the lines? Is it fancy moves and all the rest of it? You look at a couple of those tries. You had backs just doing core skills really, really well under pressure. There was one where they just flicked it through their hands in the second half there late to one of the tries in the corner. And it was just really good hands. And, when you've got guys on the edge like a Will Jordan, a Sevu Reece, geez, what about Sevu's try?
Yeah.
Silly.
I haven't seen much of him.
You don't want to be in front of Caleb Clark because he's going to scare you with power, but you don't want to be in front of Sevu Reece when he's doing that because he'll just make you look stupid.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he did. And so, I just thought they were really, really clinical. And probably more clinical than they've been for a lot of the season. When they got an opportunity, just good, simple hands, square hands, and they scored some great tries.
You probably can pick a handful of people for this, but who takes the cake? Who gets your award for our Black Magic All Black of the weekend?
Well, our Black Magic All Black of the weekend from Cardiff is none other than one of the guys who has largely been unemployed this year, and that's Chiefs hooker, Samisoni Takiaho, who I thought, as I mentioned at the top, he was so busy, and he's always a menace around the fringes, but he got in some wide channels and was destructive. So no, Takiaho is our final All Black Magic Black Magic player of the year, and of course, if you're looking for Black Magic gear, blackmagictackle.com.
I tell you what, he'll be a fisherman.
Yeah, well...
he's from Tonga. He'll be a fisherman.
He'll
know how to reel them in.
Yeah, I might have to get him the surf casting kit to go just maybe in the river.
Yeah.
He might be just catching...
A little bit different for him going in the river. But
catching what's in the mighty Waikato River.
What do you catch from there?
You need a bow and arrow to get rid of the carp. There's not much good stuff in there.
Come over to the mount.
Yeah, look.
Go over to the mount and you catch
It's
plenty.
snapper season, so we'll get him some snappers.
Yes.
Some big mooches on maybe snapper snacks.
Okay, you mentioned Wallace Atiti, last year's World Breakthrough Player of the Year. New Zealand rugby is in a pretty good place with our youngsters when you consider 2 years in a row we've had the Breakthrough Player of the Year award. This year Fabian Holland gets it. It shows that our stocks coming through are pretty good.
Yeah, brilliant for Fabian Holland. I thought, just went from strength to strength.
He played 12 of 13 test beef and nearly every single minute.
That last month too in particular, yes, he got scratched late against England and might have been a bit of a loss there. But he's, without Paddy, without Tupovai on this end of your tour, he hasn't just sort of filled a hole. He has massively made a statement, I'd have thought. So when you think about those guys as well, you're right. There's a bit of depth. when you think about newcomers too, you think Peter Lakai, you think our man Leroy Carter.
Yes, statements.
There's so many. And, I know he's not quite, because he's been here before, but Quinn Tupaia probably had his most prominent year in the All Blacks. Like, he hasn't been a bit part. He had a section there where he was the main man for probably 5 or 6 test matches. So another wonderful story. So no, there's plenty coming through. Been a bit of doom and gloom of late around the All Blacks, but there's plenty there.
Yeah, we're always positive on this program. Statements though, talking about statements, you made a few bold ones to start the season. One, you said the All Blacks would go undefeated. Not quite.
They gave it a red hot crack.
They did. We tried to bank all 13.
Yes.
But sometimes...
We knew the capital curse would rear its head, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We thought the capital curse might be a problem. There was also a statement, I believe, All Blacks would be number 1 in the world to finish the year.
How did we go there?
Second, I believe.
Wow,
number 2, just behind.
Yeah, silver in the Olympics. And if you're an Olympian, you're happy with silver.
Look, it's okay, though, because you predicted many other things this year that did come off. Let's talk about a couple of awards, though.
Yes.
First of all, best performance by the All Blacks. What was the best performance of the year for you? And why?
I think from an occasion point of view, from a result, from an anticipation, Eden Park.
Yeah.
Springboks, Eden Park. The record on the line, this wonderful team coming from South Africa, and they got the job done, and they did it, I won't say comfortably because the score says 7, but that was with a late flurry from the box, and they were never in danger of losing that one. And I just thought the way they came out the gates, they played with a bit of enterprise and a bit of endeavour. And so that for me was the performance. What
was something that you wouldn't have picked at the start of the season? The biggest surprise for you? Is it the fact that Peter Lakai basically cemented the number 8 jersey by the end of the year? Was it Fabian Holland playing nearly every minute of every test? Was it Lester Fainga'anuku and everything he did in his return to the All Blacks? What was the biggest surprise for you?
Well, if I looked at the biggest surprise, Lakai, he's been one of my favourites in Super Rugby, so that one doesn't surprise me too much. I've got to be honest with you. I think not just him getting picked regularly, but the evolution of Quinn Tupaia's game. I did not see.
And the jersey you never thought he'd be playing.
No. Apologies, Quinn. I never had you in 13. I always had you in 12. But then he's had some time in 12 as well.
Yes.
And just the bows to his game. Like the fact that we have looked our best at times this year from an attack point of view when Quinn's throwing big, flat cutout passes. Like it was easy to put him in I always thought we needed him because I didn't think we had a ball carrier since Laumapi and a destructive ball carrier. And he fits the mould. If you ever see Quinn physically live, he's like myself.
Matches you.
He's like myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Big, strong.
Post-Christmas.
Yeah, post-Christmas. This is a bit more defined, though. But, like, you just saw, you almost pigeonholed him as far as, he is that sort of guy. But he's shown this ability to pass. He's shown some deft touches with the kicking game. And I thought he's done an outstanding job. And so that was probably the one that I didn't see coming.
Best moment of the season? And this can be the season as a whole. Doesn't just have to be at international level.
I think the Moana Pacifica story of Super Rugby, there were weekends when, it fell flat, but then there were some weekends which I don't think we've seen the likes of before in Super Rugby, and Super Rugby needed it this year. And we had a good Super Rugby competition, a lot of positivity around it. There was a lot of good things happening around it, not just the style of football, but the storylines. And Moana was one of those, and I can't wait to rock my supporters' hat all summer long.
I can't wait to see the 5 panel.
It's corduroy number.
It is corduroy 5 panel for you.
Would you call it aqua? The colour?
It is a bit aqua.
Yeah. So no, wonderful story.
Just don't take it on the boat.
No, don't get it dirty on the boat. And then was it the turnover against the Blues?
Yeah.
As they're defending their line such the hype and the hoopla around it, and I guess the celebrations with Artie and the rest afterwards. That will live long. I was lucky enough to be there that day in the commentary, and that will live long.
That 80-minute performance,
yeah,
the best of all time. Okay, MVP. Who was your player of the year for the All Blacks? Who's it between?
Well,
Give me 3 names.
I'll give you 3 names. Cam Roigard.
Yes.
I would chuck. I'd go close to chucking Cody Taylor in there too.
Yeah.
Just through sheer workload, leadership, what he does for that pack when he's not there. And then you're starting to think, does Fabian get a mention? Does Tupou Vai if he hadn't have got injured? Obviously Artie, but I'm going to go Roigard.
Oh, Roigard's your player of the year.
Yep.
How many tests did he play? Tupou would have played
Half.
more than him, wouldn't he?
Yeah, look, Cam would probably only played half, but why I've ended up there is I just think you've seen when he's there and when he's not, and the difference he makes, and the difference he makes to his 10s, the difference he makes just to his team. His performances when he was there, I just couldn't go past them, Kirst.
This may sound like an end of season review, like we're hanging up the boots, but there is still going to be weekly drops of content. It may not be weekly reviews, but weekly drops. So make sure you like and subscribe to the Aftermatch so you don't miss a thing.
Are we going to review my performance in Dubai?
I don't know if we can be.
Yeah.
On field or off. I hear Shaggy's playing.
Shaggy is playing. It wasn't
Shaggy
me.
might get you.
Do I take my boots?
Well, you'll need them.
I don't have
Will they help you?
They won't help me.
You
Lord.
need a bit of extra cushion, I reckon.
Yes. Night outs in those. I've been in the concerts in those.
Dubai, that's right. We wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
It's that time of year.
Pray for me.
Yeah, Beef gets the boots on again once every 365 days.
Why do I do it? Why do I do it?